Hi, and welcome back to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio. I'm continuing my series on card layouts, and here is the layout for today. Really different. Last week, if you were here, I promised you I'd teach you a really fun way to use that detailed trio punch, and that's what today's card is inspired from. Just like before, I have several samples to share with you, so make sure you stay with me to the end of the video, all using this exact same layout. If this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Make sure you click that small bell icon that's next to it, because that will give you notifications of when I'm live here on YouTube, as well as when I upload a new video. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's card. Here's a close-up of that card that we're going to create together today. Isn't this interesting? The corners and the overlaying really create the interest on this card. Very simple, and I've got several variations to share with you. I've cut 3 squares at 1 1/2 inches. We are going to use the detailed trio punch to corner round 2 opposite corners. The detailed trio punch has 3 different designs on it. It's actually one of my favorite punches here in the studio. So this is a corner rounder. This one creates the perfect opening for a ribbon, whether it's on a tag or a card, and this creates a beautiful decorative corner on your cardstock. There is a guide on each of the corners that'll allow you to slip the paper in carefully to align it to the punch. It's very easy to use. I recommend that you lay it on your work surface and you're going to punch in the center with the heel of your hand. I'm going to take the first square and I'm going to place it all the way down inside the punch. Again, those guides on both sides are guiding the paper. And then I'm just going to hold the tip and then I'm going to press. And then I'm going to flip it now and do the opposite corner. I want to give you one tip while we're together. If you're finding this difficult to hold, grab a Post-it note, take the sticky edge and attach it to the cardstock. That's going to extend your reach for you to allow it a little bit more comfortable for your hand. And then punch. And then you'll just remove this by peeling it, relocating it to the rounded sides, and then just punching the opposite end to round this. Now do the same thing now on this one. I have 3 squares of black cardstock that measure 1 5/8 inch. The exact same thing we're going to do that we just done with the white ones. I'm going to set the black ones to the side for right now, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of cardstock to protect my work surface. These are the small grid papers, and I absolutely love them because I can't do too many things straight, so the grid lines on here are quite helpful. I'm going to line up my pieces like I'm going to want them on my card. So I've got the top one, and then I've got the one to the left, and then I've got the one on the bottom. And you're going to notice that I have them in the direction that I want them to go, and that's going to be specific if you're stamping them. Now I've got other samples that use designer paper. I'm going to be using the lovely lipstick ink pad, and I've pulled out the small floral image, and this is from the stamp set called Floral Essence. And it is photopolymer, which makes it very easy to use. You're going to find that there's small pieces that fit inside the flower images here for the centers in beautiful mixed fonts. Greetings. Now, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're interested in Stampin' Up! Supplies, I would be more than happy to send you a complimentary copy of the current catalog. Just go ahead and contact me at lisastampstudio.com. So I've got my flower here, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up in the lovely lipstick ink. And I'm going to concentrate this image here more in the upper right corner. And then I'm going to take the next one, and this one is in the upper left corner. And then finally, my last image is going to go down here in the upper right corner. This will allow me to make sure that the images are placed well for when I overlap them. I'm going to switch now over to the Memento black ink pad, and I've pulled out that small flower center. Now, this center fits very well inside this flower, but I wanted it to be darker. So what you can do if you want is you can go back over the image twice to get a little bit more predominant look. You're going to notice too that it's going to take some of the white areas out of the center of the flower, but it will create a more bold effect. I'm going to slide this over, and then what we're going to do is we're going to adhere these white pieces to the black ones. To do that, I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet because these are rather small. So I'm going to pick up the bottom one. I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to add my adhesive on 2 opposite sides. And then what I'm going to do is mirror the black one to fit this shape. I'm looking to leave a small margin of color all the way around. Actually, let me move this over here so you can see it a little bit better. And then I'll tack that in place. I'm then going to do the same thing now with the other image. I'll flip that upside down and add my adhesive. Now that those are all adhered to their layers, I'm going to come here to the card base. This is 4¼ by 11. I've scored it right before you joined me. I'm going to fold that in half. I'm a big fan of my bone folder for that nice crisp edge. Now I've made several of these cards before, and I found leaving them in the order they're going to get mounted is very, very important. Otherwise you're going to be turning them to figure out how they go. The other thing is this. I don't know about you, but sometimes I cannot stamp straight, especially when it comes to my greetings. So a stamp positioner is a wonderful thing. But if you don't have one, I want to give you a tip about this card. Take the pieces individually and lay them on the card before you adhere it. That's going to give you an idea on placement for your greeting, as well as if something needs to be manipulated more to the left or to the right. And then what I'm going to do is, remember that Post-it note? I'm going to anchor that down to my work surface, making sure that this is as straight as it possibly can be. I'm going to go back to my Memento ink pad, and I've pulled out the greeting from a different stamp set. This stamp is from the stamp set called A Little Lace, and I absolutely love the images and the greetings inside there. This one says, "You'll always be my friend." I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp that where I want it. Now it's just a matter of assembly. So I'm going to come in here to the back, and I'm going to take this piece out first with my silicone craft sheet. Once again, I'm going to add adhesive to the back side. This top one is directly adhered to the cardstock, and then I'll tack that in place. This second one here on the left, I'm going to flip that over. That's going to use dimensionals, and I opted to put them in all 4 corners. I found that it balanced a lot better by me doing so. Making sure your placement is correct with your point here in the upper right corner. I'm going to go ahead and tack that one down. Remember this one? This is our bottom right one. You're going to put adhesive in this upper left corner and then dimensionals in the other 3. So I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to add adhesive there. You got to love that silicone craft sheet because adhesive will not stick to it. That'll keep my work surface sticky free. I've added dimensionals in the other 3 corners, and now this is going to get mounted with a slight overlay. Again, look at your positioning to make sure that you've got your greeting exposed, and then when you're happy with it, just tack it in place. I'll go ahead and remove that Post-it note now, and we've got our completed card. Isn't that stunning and so simple? This detailed trio punch is a winner. Now, I promised you a couple other samples, and here they are. This one uses exclusively designer series paper. The designer paper is called Mosaic Mood, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's a specialty paper, and I wish you could feel it, but it's got like a tile kind of finish to it on several of these pieces. I used soft suede as a layer as well as for the greeting. And then finally, I've got one using the stamp set called Crafting Forever. I took the word hello from the Flourishing Phrases stamp set. This one I offset just a little bit because these images were a little bit busier, and that beautiful granny apple green that borders these. I would love to know which one of these is your favorite. Would you leave me a comment below? And if you've enjoyed today's video and this layout, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.